Hi guys, welcome to day one of our Element of Art Star Wars class where we're going to be drawing line. We're actually going to be doing a lot more than just drawing lines, but line is the main thing we're going to be looking at today. Line, and then those lines are going to turn into shapes, and then those shapes are going to turn into forms later. So we're going to start today with BB-8 because I think circles are something you definitely want to see drawn, especially if you're just starting out. If this is something that you think might be a little too easy for you, that's okay too. You can just go with it and just have a great time with this and then a challenge. So let's get right to it. I am going to show you guys. Okay, so BB-8 consists of a line that makes the shape of a circle. So we're not worried about shading or anything today. We're just trying to get our outline. So what I have a few pencils that I already have sharpened. That way, if my one gets dull or my point breaks, then I can just move to another one and not lose the flow. I have a bigger eraser in case I really don't like a line and want to erase it. And then just some regular old computer paper. You can use a sketchbook if you want, or if you're cheap like me, you can just use computer paper. I don't know if it's just being cheap or just I draw a lot and I would have sketchbooks all over my house. So I use computer paper, and then if I like something or I know it's going to be a big deal, I'll put it in my sketchbook. But so as of right now, let's go ahead and get started on BB-8. So we know that he is a circle. So what I'm doing now, I've got the side of my palm here, and that is on the paper. So I'm just gonna make a circle with that. Get my arm and my brain used to what it feels like to make a circle, okay? Now what some people do is they do this by just practicing, slowly putting their pencil down to the paper. You know, you can make several circles if you want to. Slowly, now you want to do this lightly, obviously, because we're probably going to need to fix our circles. They're not going to be perfect circles, right? So you can practice a little bit, just making the circle and then slowly bringing your pencil to the paper. And the lighter you draw, the easier it will be for you to correct. So I'm going to go ahead and make my first circle for BB-8 here. It's going to be a bit of a, I don't want it to be too humongous. I think that's good. So as you can see the picture here, it's a very light circle, and I did that on purpose because I want it to be light. Because I'm going to come back through here and go along that circle's edge, just a little bit darker. Let's see if I can define that circle. And this may take some practice too to make sure you get it exactly like you want it. Please don't feel the need to make it perfect, because unless you're in a realistic drawing class, that's not a necessary thing. Now, of course, you want it to look as close as possible. I understand that. I am a perfectionist, so I could probably mess with this circle till the cows come home. But I'm telling myself right now I need to stop. That's what has to happen. So once I get my circle, above this circle, I'm going to float a little line for his head. Okay, so I'm floating a little line, and I think his head's going to be about yay high. So what I did just there is I drew a little line as almost like a ruler or a placeholder to tell myself how high I want that head to go. And then instead of drawing a rainbow or a dome, like I'm going to start at that line, come out and curve down to where my other line ends. And what I'm going to do is do the exact same thing for the other side. Now, the reason I did that is because it's much easier to get an even half circle when you do it one half at a time than if you try to eye it like, you know, it's not the same. Anyway, I have found that to be much easier. So we have our floating head BB-8 here. Let's connect his head. So when you look at the pictures, he's got some little lines. Everything we're doing right now is a line. I keep saying that. Our lines are connecting together to make shapes. So our half circle, we actually made 3 lines to make this. 1, 2, 3. Technically all together, it's like 2 lines, right? A curve and a straight. But the lines help us break down these more complicated shapes into just easy peasy lines. So that's what we're trying to get. So this is actually a trapezoid, okay, that I did. And I'm going to erase this little bump in the middle there. So now we have BB-8's outline, okay? This is what he looks like. Now let me walk over here real fast. Turn this off because it is getting a little distracting. Okay. So, okay. The next part is we're going to do a few details that are also going to be little shapes. So, the first, let's go ahead and put on his eye, okay? The eye is one of his most distinctive features, other than the fact that he is a rolling droid. I don't know what the term for this is, I'm sorry. Other than the fact that he is a circular droid, he also has an eye. So I'm going to stick his eye, and I'm doing the same thing, except I'm doing it more so with my fingers instead of my whole arm. So I'm starting lightly. You can do it slow. Practice drawing little circles really lightly, okay? You can draw them on the side of the page. And then when you're ready, go ahead and place his eye, okay? I think it might be a little bit bigger than that, actually. So by drawing lightly, you can know if it needs to go a little smaller or a little bigger. But I know his eye takes up a lot of real estate on top of his head here. I've circled it so much it's getting pretty dark. I'm going to fill in his eye, do a tiny little circle in the middle and fill it in. There we go. We are just sketching today. Like I said, we're not going for uber realism. As of this point, anybody should be able to know, if they know Star Wars at all, that we are drawing BB-8, right? He's so distinctive. The next thing I want to do is to make his little neck marks. So we're going to draw some quick little lines angling around his neck here. Those are the connector lines. And let's make his little crown. So he's got a curved line here at the top. And that curved line has other lines. Then he's got some antennas sticking out. So a line and a bigger line with a little antenna at the top. So we're getting there. Line after line, we're getting there. Every single drawing that you're ever going to make with a pencil and paper is going to involve making lines. These lines that we're making right now are called outlines. We are outlining our character. Now, we did fill in the eye with almost a hatching line, which we will talk about later when we start talking about value, how to make lines look like shading. So, but for this, most of these are outlines or outlining the character. All right. I'm going to get a sharper pencil for these details. If you would like to try it, you can. So, the top part, this head here, he's got some little just lines coming in from either side. And then from the top of his eye, or like the side right here, we're going to curve straight down. I didn't make that super straight, so I'm going to try again. We're going to curve straight down. Try that again. I like that better. Again, I drew too hard and wasn't able to erase it. My fault. It's my own fault. I'm not following my own advice. Over here, I'm going to make a little line, curved line. Do a little section here. And in here, we've got another little circle. And then another little black circle inside that. All right, we're getting along. Let me get something to prop this up with. That way you guys can see it a little closer up. So propping action here. All right, so let me prop this up so you can see it a little better. Get it closer to the camera. Okay, that's probably a little better. Okay, so far we have these little details, and there are some that are coming that are a little bit smaller. That's one reason I wanted to prop it up for you. Okay. Just line after line. Circle. And square. Now, this is just a quick drawing based at looking at BB-8. Details may not be exactly perfect. We're trying to get a likeness through a sketch. There we go. So I think that's good enough for his head. And if you look at BB-8, there may be other things that you want to draw. Okay? But for now, let's move on to the body where there are more circles. Some of these circles are going to go off of his body because he is a round object. And round objects, things curve around and the lines transform or they shift. So I want to start with the regular circle. We'll go ahead and put it right here. Okay. And then, let's see, we got a point here. We're going to make a triangle. So I think I'm going to put a point there, point there, maybe a point there. So that's where our 3 points are going to be. We're making a triangle. And the triangle, the points are in the center. So around this point, when a circle curves around something, it becomes like an oval. So that's what I'm going to do, is kind of oval this around. And then over here, I'm going to do the same. Just like your half moon there. So if I were to make the same size triangle, the other circles would be off. They would not be on here. So we shouldn't really be able to see the other circles. Maybe a tiny bit of one down here, maybe. So once we make those, you see our triangle, we want to actually connect those lines. So see, and I'm making them just a little bit curved to show the roundness. So even though we can't see the other circles, we're still gonna make the lines because they are connecting to other parts of him. So he has lots of little connectors there. You don't have to make them as dark or, whatever you want to do. So these connectors have little screws on them at the plate connecting points. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. I don't know if I like that there, but I suppose I put it there, so I'm gonna screw over here. 1, 2, 3. You can only see one of the screws up here. Maybe 2 of the screws over there. So we are just connecting this bad boy up. Okay. Sure that is necessary. Okay. So now we've got the 3 circles on the front with the plates and their screws. Now it's just going to be more circles inside these circles. So I'm going to erase the lines on the inside of the circles here and make these circles a little more pretty. So go along my edge here. And it still looks sketchy. I like that sketchy look personally. If I'm making a sketch, I want it to look sketchy. But you can erase more lines if you want to, or just be more careful to where it doesn't look as sketchy. This is your drawing, and it is your interpretation of BB-8. If you're wanting to draw a very realistic version of BB-8, you can do that. It's up to you. Just takes more time. Okay. Just a few screws here. Okay. So on the inside, we're going to go around and make another circle on the inside edge of each of these circles. So I'm just tracing the other line, really. So I've got an inside line. And then there is some semblance of a circle in the middle. There's different designs on each of these circles, which we'll look at in just a minute. Okay, so once you get this down, we're going to make some curvy lines. So what happens is there are little screw plates that stick out like this. So there's one, and they're at the cross sections. So there's one, there's two, there's three, there's four. I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Make the cross section, however I want that to look. One, two, I can't see the other one. Over here, one, two, three. Okay. My ruler lines are these little crosses and X's and things that I put all over the place. You always want to do those lightly because they are ones that are erased. So I've got this here. Each of these have their own little screw at the tip of that little spot. Okay. Erase my X's here. Okay. Once you get that, we're going to draw just a few extra details and we will be done. So around the edge, let's see, I'll do one right here. Right now I am copying a picture that I've already drawn of BB-8 previously, which you guys saw. When you signed up for the class, it was the class picture. So I'm just trying to see what I did there instead of trying to. So I tried to simplify it. So all the details I'm drawing right now, you can see on an actual picture of BB-8. So I'm gonna there is a picture uploaded of the picture I used to draw from. So you guys could always just use that if you want. So just making designs along the edge, you know, just marking them up here. Okay. So you can either keep it like this, or you can add the extra details in the middle of these circles. So I'll go ahead and do that for those who want to, and you can just follow along. I won't talk through this one. I'll just add them in. I like these spots because it gives it a little more black and white. It's not just white with lines. And gives it a little bit more texture to it, which we'll talk about texture on week 4. I believe textures. Just makes it a little more interesting. All right. I am happy with this little guy. You can mess around with it as much as you want to, get it to where you want. Make a little shadow underneath of him here so it looks like he's actually standing on something. sign my name, 2021. And that is BB-8 with our circles and lines. I'll catch you in the comments. I look forward to seeing your little BB-8s. Look forward to challenge tomorrow because I have someone else for you to practice your lines on too. But upload your pictures as soon as you can, and I'll go ahead and start giving my opinions. Thanks. Bye, guys.